going. There we go. How's it going, everybody? Yeah, I was not ready for this Bears season to be over. I'm not gonna lie. I thought we had it at the end. The DB just made a really great play. He even said that DJ, no matter how flat everybody wanted him to run, was never gonna be in front of the defender with how much he cut towards him. He's saying he knew where to go on that play the whole time. Hey, a viewer. And so with that, you kind of just have to tip your cap to the defender. It's hard. It's really hard, but especially when you're 15 yards away from the NFC Championship game, and selfishly, I really just wanted them to just keep going in the playoffs. To at least, I don't care if we would have gotten blown out by Seattle. I don't care if their defense would have stopped us. Maybe that's not good for our team. Maybe that wouldn't have been good given the season they had. That maybe this was the best way to end the season. Not that there's ever a best way to lose. You know, I don't think anybody will ever tell you there's a best way to lose. But you don't want to get blown out either, or feel inferior. So that's hey, just give some motivation for next season. That's the I mean, when I give the Jordan analogy, I think of it as losing to Detroit, the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, while it's not Detroit, it's Los Angeles. It is old Matt Stafford, who we've had plenty of battles with. Welcome, viewer. But now it's time for the offseason. I wasn't ready for it, but it's here. But you know, it is what it is. Got a lot to talk about with that. I will be playing some Rocket League, but I think we'll touch upon the head coaching. Well, not head coaching, but I don't think anybody's actually being interviewed for head coaching or any of them. No, because he went for an offensive coordinator. Al Harris trying to be a defensive coordinator. Yeah, nobody's trying to become a head coach from our staff. I'm thinking way too out of there now. Ooh. But no, our guys are going for I think for other coordinator jobs or other jobs. Period. I think, and we'll talk a little bit on that. We'll talk a little bit about everything. Free agency. What in-house free agents you might look at? Are there options for outside free agents? What's the cap gonna look like? Other news that's out there. Team needs in the draft. And maybe we'll talk specifically on maybe the top 2 players I'd like to keep personally. But we'll be playing some Rocket League too. I'm not going to subject these people to my talk about the Chicago Bears. Oh, I can't, Jesus. But we'll do something. We will do something. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. But as we get started, I need a water. And before we go into a game, you know, let's just talk about it. This was an amazing season. There's just so much positive you can pick from the season that even though it ended the way it did, I know some people want to talk about it being rigged. Rigged to the point that one person was a Packers fan that finally hit me up. And of course he hits me up during the playoff game. And then starts talking to me about rigged. And I'm just like, really, this guy? I was just like, so you know what? We'll play that game. I'll be like, yeah, it would be if, you know, the Packers were that ahead of the Bears for that many years. Was it 30 years? You got like 2 Super Bowls out of it. Yeah, so rigged. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if I say anything's rigged, it's that. And of course, he took it because he wanted to downplay my, you know, my happiness with the Bears' success. So I let it happen for a little bit, and then I go, well, you better hope it's rigged. I go, unless you think they're gonna rig it to try to stop the Bears from taking the North and never giving it back. I go, you better hope it's rigged and they don't take dominance like that. I go, you don't ever see dominance like that, right? Yeah, it's so funny. I want to downplay the success because they're that mad. Like, we finally have something decent happen for the first time in forever. And these boys want to be like, oh, league's rigged. It's all rigged. Like, now it's rigged? Okay. Not when the Packers were doing good for 30 years. But it is what it is. You know, they can always dish it out, but they can never take their own medicine. Noted, Packers. It's noted. You know, it's also noted 45 million people tuned in to watch the Bears and the Rams. I know what you're all going to say. Oh, but the Rams, they have such a large market too. The second and third large markets watching a playoff game, they're like, yeah, of course it's going to be popular. Like, okay. But, get this. They had geographics for everything on where it went down. And the most watched area was in Chicago. And the second most was the Milwaukee area. Because it's the largest area in Wisconsin that they can track. Even though, you know, their team is Green Bay. Fourth was Minnesota. Sixth was Detroit. And with that being said, and Los Angeles 10th in watching market. 10th. Like I said, we will play soon. We've got heat seekers. We'll get out of this, but real quick. Give me a sec. Okay, so I can talk freely now. There we go. But yeah, you know, we got a lot going on there. Nice. Now, I think you can always start out with your own free agents. Blue scored. That's us. But we have free agents to talk about. We have, for the projected cap, I mean, we don't know what the new cap number is yet. We can guess. But hopefully, you know, if we get a bump in the cap space, it's like, puts us at like maybe positive $5 to $10 million instead of negative $7 million. But then with that, we gotta be cautious on who we spend on. And we got a lot of free agents in the secondary, primarily. Primarily the safety room. We have all four safeties being pending free agents with Kevin Byard, Joaquin Brisker, Jonathan Owens, and Elijah Hicks. Not to mention Charlie Gardner Johnson, C.J. Gardner Johnson, and Nashawn Wright. Now, we've got some options, I think, to try to free up some cap space. Or we could just do the 5th-year option with Darnell Wright, you know. Welcome, viewer. But safety needs to be... Oh, what a way to win the game. Just going up and getting it on them. And they left the match. It's cool. Thanks, Bobbert. Yeah, really constricted in the space, cap space, but who knows? Maybe we could get Leaning Tower. Maybe we can get maybe 2 or 3 players to restructure their deals. And the thing is, it's not monopoly money, but it's not, you know, something that could break them. Maybe like they could create like $40 to $50 million in cap space before adding new stuff, whatever the new CBA stuff is. So I think, you know, if they go up to players and be like, hey DJ, hey Jalen Johnson. I know when I say DJ, everybody knows who DJ. Go DJ, that's my DJ. Oh, I'm talking about DJ Moore, yeah. And Montez Sweat. If they could just notch their deals down to just... Maybe we could just take a little bit each off of each one, turn it into signing bonus. That way you don't have to pay them, you know. But, I think we could afford to keep at least our starting safeties and maybe one of those corners. And that's just me, but I don't think it's too much to ask for everybody to see where they are. They're all getting emotional that this is like it for them, and they might not all be together again, and they might not be. There's a lot of guys that might not be able to keep, but ideally I would like to keep at the very least Byard, Brisker, and CJ Gardner Johnson. And and that's just because they like using the three safety look. They like using the three safety look, and you know, having him out there as the third safety is good. Not as the main safety, but as a third safety is not bad. I would like to keep Jonathan Owens. I'd love to keep him with his wife there being an Olympic player, and I think bringing a lot of notice to the Bears. Our own version, kind of the Honey Bears, is the wives. I think we could bring back the Honey Bears in that way, in that sense. And the Honey Bears should just be the players' girlfriends and wives. But I'm not trying to advocate for them to be like all, you know, objectified either, guys. It's just trying to be like something cool to call the girlfriends and wives. You know, I think a contract extension for Darnell Wright is not out of the question either, to try to spread money out in a better way, especially, you know, if you're trying to make it like more affordable. Oh man. But you know, because you could easily make room for contracts to be able to get more guys. I think they might just, in a sense, they may just give up enough money just to be able to re-sign some of our own guys. Hopefully, all of our own guys. I'd like to keep everybody, but I think Nahshon Wright has played himself into a good contract, and he deserves it. Just don't stay in the NFC North if you're gonna go out and get more money. That's all I ask. It's not like a demand, but it's more of a want. You know, the Dio contract's really killing us right now because we can't really touch it. We can't do anything to it because I know a lot of people will probably suggest him, and it's just really hard right now. Dang it. Not much we can do there with that, you know? But with not just free agency, but, you know, we kind of have to deal with, you know, coordinators all trying to get, you know, other jobs, whether it be promotions or other jobs elsewhere where they know they can actually do some things, like potentially call an offense. Like Declan Doyle will be leaving from being an offensive coordinator here to being an offensive coordinator elsewhere. But, you know, he might get the opportunity to call plays, and, you know, he might have learned a lot here. You know, we might see quite the coaching tree. You know, Eric Bieniemy already left to go back to Kansas City, you know, and given, like I heard it from, you know, Swift Sports Network, you know, given how stale their offense has been, you know, in the last few years, you know, they bring somebody back with familiarity, but with somebody who may have learned, a few tricks from Ben Johnson. He might have picked up a thing or two. Who knows? Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. We don't know. But what we do know is people want our coaches. For everybody calling us lucky and stuff, oh, the Bears are lucky. You can't just replicate that kind of success. You can't just have 7 fourth quarter comebacks with, all in the final 2 minutes to go of the fourth quarter. Like that kind of stuff you cannot teach. But, we at the same time, people want our coordinators, those same coordinators. So what is it? What's it gonna be? Al Harris is getting, promotion potentially to go be a defensive coordinator. And good on him. Ben Johnson said he will do whatever he wants to help people, further grow out there and do something. And you know what? He's going to go interview with the Packers. He's a Hall of Fame Packer. I'm pretty sure he's in their Ring of Honor, I think. I think they have a Ring of Honor. I'm pretty sure they do. I think they have their own little Hall of Fame next to the stadium, if I'm not mistaken. But, he's, a big-time cornerback, He's probably most famous, most of y'all, if you've ever seen it, he's most famous from the Seattle Green Bay game in, I want to say 2003, where Matt Hasselbeck was like, "We want the ball, we're gonna score." Like literally just went right up to the mic, and after he won the coin toss, the balls on the man, and nobody had ever won at Lambeau Field at that time, with it being under a certain degree or at a certain time of year. That wouldn't happen for another year with Mike Vick in the playoffs, which is crazy. But yeah, you would remember him as the cornerback who prevented Matt Hasselbeck from scoring after getting the ball. Alright, we'll have to demolish players in a real match, but for now we're getting stuff done in that one. So let's try to keep it going in that one. Is Antoine Randall next? There's reports he may be getting coaching offers out there, but Al Harris, I think he's also taking a job interviews with Washington too, which, if he's going to go anywhere, go to Washington. Fuck it. I'd rather not see him twice a year. Although, you have the chance to still do that if he goes to Washington because, there's a chance, Washington, if you think the Bears can actually, sustain the success, which, I think with Ben Johnson, with his style of coaching and what he's been saying already in the offseason, I love hearing what I've heard, and I think they can sustain this kind of success because of that. But if you're on the fence, I can see why, you'd want him to stay or whatever, but you don't know what he is as a defensive coordinator. We've got somebody with Dennis Allen who's been a defensive coordinator, been a head coach, done it all. And this was like, if you look at that game, Sean McVay said that guy literally outcoached him, and he had some mistakes, and his players still, picked him up and won. If you listen to the press conference with Sean McVay, he was just like, I made a lot of mistakes out there, and the players really covered my ass. Can't mute. at the beginning. Let's see, can we mute the... You know, so we don't know what you got now, Harris, but you know, and sorry for the interruptions. I'm gonna turn me off. And it's just disappointing, definitely, because you want to keep going. This is probably the best opportunity. You don't know how Seattle's going to do in a second game in the playoffs with how they're doing. I think they could do good. They could do great. Or they could shit the bed. And I wanted to be there if they shat the bed. That's all. And so there's only so much we could have done. And you know, you win some, you lose some, like this. Just win some, you lose some. But, you know, if you can re-sign some guys, some key guys, I think, you know, you can go to the draft and get your, you know, and free agency and get, like, backups there. But, get some needs in the draft. It's basically defense. It's basically like, if you can't re-sign everybody at the safety position, or you can't get half of the safeties back, it's basically safety is the top need, then becomes the top need, then defensive line, and then linebacker, just to see if you can just get some more linebacker help out there and shit. Yeah, definitely one that hurts, just because of how close we were to keep going. Ian Cunningham might get a position out there as a general manager, though. And the question is, do we get compensatory picks, and can the Falcons actually block us from getting compensatory picks? Because even though they wouldn't come from them directly, I don't know if they want to see us getting compensatory picks. And so they might do something where they're like, we'll hire Ian Cunningham as the GM, but, you know, the primary football executive will be Matt Ryan, you know, with the president of football operations. And that could apparently, you know, according to Just Another Year Chicago, could be the way that they block us from getting those picks. And so I don't know how I feel about that. And it's like, oh, dang it. It's like those picks don't come from you directly. They come from the NFL, you know? You don't have to... You don't have to screw us on that. And they're just third-round picks. Even though some of my favorite players might have came from the third round. Second and third round. First round now. Man, it's finally good to have some first-round picks I actually like, though. It's been a long time. I mean, some of my favorite... Oh, shit. How did I not get that? You know? Like, help a brother out. That's all. And, you know, the needs become that. I mean, it depends how our needs look after the free agency, though. Because, like, again, free agency could change needs completely. You know, we could get defensive line in free agency. What if we get players who want to play for less? Want to play on one-year deals, you know, who knows? Maybe not one-year deals. I don't think anybody likes playing on one-year deals. Oh yeah, I said I was going to change that song because I felt like that was bad luck when I changed that song. I just wanted to match my buddy with his Miku songs. What? Now, Brisker and Byard, that's the thing. They might not be able to afford both, and that's why safety may also be a need. It all depends how many people can free up money. Yeah, how did I not reach that one? They may feel like... Apparently they may try to choose Byard over Brisker because of health concerns, which, you know, last year he was out for a lot of games. He only played in 7 games. But, I mean, every other year he's played 15, 15, and 17, plus 2 this year. So, technically, he's played in 19 games this year. So, you know, they're trying to say, like, oh, you know, his health is an issue. But, you know, it's only an issue last year, really, and it was concussion-related. You can't really blame the player on that one at that point. You know, concussions happen. They're trying to do more to reduce that, you know? You know, they're trying to say he's got a history of not being able to play. Like, okay, sorry, he couldn't play 2 games out of 17. You know, there's not a lot of players that can play all 17 games. Hey, viewer. I think it's dumb if they're going to choose one over the other. Especially when you look at their production's pretty decent. I mean, yeah, you're gonna pick Byard because he had, more interceptions, obviously, what have you. They had the same number of total tackles, they're just off on like a 20 difference on like solo tackles, but it's only so much you can do. You look at how he was in those playoff games. I personally would try to find a way to keep Byard and Brisker. That's just me. Stan Marsh. Oh boy. Stan Marsh. Oh. Aye. It's like, who's who? I'd probably just use it on a different car. Probably on one of these ones. And apparently I got something else, though. Okay, I got that. I want to level up. Sweet, 69. Oh, I just need to win one more Heat Seekers. Oh, this page is complete. I need to just play one more Heat Seekers and win one more Heat Seekers. So that's kind of a lot riding on that. And try to get it. Heat Seekers. I think it's kind of dumb. They gotta choose between one or the other. They both had 93 solo tackles, or total tackles. Brisker had 47 solo. Byard had 61. He had 7 interceptions. But they both had 8 pass deflections. Brisker and Byard, I think, complemented each other perfectly. I'd like to keep both, if preferable. I don't want Brisker to go. I don't want anyone to go. I want to keep everybody. I want to keep all, because we have all 4 safeties going into free agency now. Stan Darsh and oh, come on. What the hell is going on? Oh, Yoshi Gamer's on our team. Shit. Who's the one? Oh, the one that blew me up. Dale Harris. Sorry. I did not mean to report you. Okay. Mubby. Wrong guy. I read the wrong name. But, I mean, that's just like a little bit of things, you could get going. Don't want to lose any coordinators. Don't want to lose any head coaching. Any coordinators for head coaches, I should say. How did I go too high? I don't know how I missed that. What? Come on. Oh, thank God I got a goal on that one. Quiet, kid. Now the Ozzy Trapilo injury, that's almost makes left tackle kind of a need as well. But you know, you have Theo Benedict who played there. You have Joe Tooney you can put there in the short term. You got some options. We'll see how they tackle it, but I don't think they go early pick with that. It's just it's difficult. Oh, I got the winning hit. Ah! I don't know how many wins that is. I'm going to win. Yeah, you gotta do a couple other things. Collect that. Ooh, big goal. Hello, cheesy poos. So it's gonna demolish people and goals. Okay. Well, to demolish people, we would need to go into regular matches. So, and we'll see if we can find about some other things we can talk about with the Bears because of the title of the stream. We're kind of having to go within the confines of that. Now, here's something that not many people were talking about or didn't really notice until we got to the end of the year and we're like, oh, is this interesting? And then we found out, oh, this is why. And apparently we wore all navy blue at home and all white on the road. And I was just like, wow, I didn't realize that personally. And I guess it's because Virginia McCaskey was not a fan of throwback uniforms. She just wanted them to wear their basic uniforms everywhere they went. And that's apparently why they went with all navy with the pants and the combo. Welcome, viewer. Seems like a harder challenge than it is. Now if I just lock in on this... Be like an enforcer. Oh, geez, guys. Oh, come on. That was a perfect tip pass. But yeah, she's not a fan of the throwbacks. She's not a fan of the orange, apparently. I like the orange. I don't know. That's most Chicago people, though. They apparently are not a fan of the orange. I like the old monsters of the Midways. The ones we wore in the early 2010s. Those ones were cool. I don't see anything wrong with those ones. Assist. Yeah, I like those throwbacks. The newer ones, I like those too, but she doesn't like white at home. I don't know why they didn't just make like a home version of that uniform and wear that one like at like, you know, at like a rival team, you know, with that throwback. That like it's rare you have a throwback that can be used on the road. You know, they let the AFL teams get away with it. I think we'd have like some cool uniform combos if some teams just went with certain ones over others. I might do that in Madden. No lie. Alright. I don't know how many people we've exploded, but I just need to get a goal and a win in the same match. Which I thought would have been able to do in Heat Seekers, which I might have to go back and do it there. Personally, I would add a logo to some of those throwback uniforms. The one where we wear like no logo and we look like the Cleveland fucking Browns. Not a fan. I mean, I know it's trying to like get the whole leather aesthetic type thing going, but the helmet they got for the white uni throwback, which I can use. Oh. Like, it kind of looks very Michigan-y, but it's it's at least something. I would put that helmet on with the 1940s uniforms that you could wear. You wear those at home, and wear the 1930, white uniforms with those cool ass sleeves. Yeah, you have something. Assist. OT. Cardiac Bears. Can we win it here? Like, I like getting squeezed out by my own team. No, I love it. But thank you for listening to my rant about the Bears. Demolished 7 cars there. Let's see if we can demolish more. That was fun. Now, thank you everybody for listening to my rant. Doesn't mean I'm done with my rant. Oh, yeah, that's right. I got a back scratch around. Ugh. I don't think we got a lot of draft picks either. Not in the top 100 as much as we did last year. And so, you got. It's going to be tricky to do this because now you know, nobody holds it against you more than your rivals, but you know, and be like, who's a good book if we fail, because of limitations, and it is what it is. We'll slide it off. I think we'll be all right. But yeah. These are dick bags. Like, I hate when people are like that. Like, bro. How did he not explode? Ugh. Got the hardest schedule going into next year, apparently. Which, is what it is. Again, you don't run from it. You go to it, you attack it. Anyways. And right here, I kind of have that mentality of like trying to win at the end. There's no quit. Did I put the concede thing? Yes, I put it in their mind because I knew there wouldn't. But let's see. Just gonna get 16 more of those. That one's gonna be the hard one. Let's see if there's anything competitive where I can just get people with that all the time. Maybe. Let's see if I can, with a smaller arena, maybe I can get more demolitions here, maybe? Which, true story, first playoff game in which the Bears had to play a playoff game to win a championship, 1932. They played in what would be the future home of the Chicago Bulls, Chicago Stadium. And the only team to win championships in the home field of all three of those team areas. So I like the connection with all three teams. I like them all. At least this dude knows what I'm trying to do. The other one's being a dick. Let's see how many I got in that one, because that looked like a lot. Oh my god, sweet. Alright, so we need 7 more. Try that one. Because I'm pretty sure I just got 9 there, so if I can get close to that, I'm happy. Oh, come on. Alright, let's see what happens next. Yeehaw! Alright. Not a fan of throwbacks, so I guess I'm not surprised. There we go, 1. 6 to go. 7. Oh. 2 out of 7. 3 out of 7. 4 out of 7. 5 out of 7. Six out of 7. And 7 happened to be Papa Bear's number, George Hallis. Come on, one more. Come on, I got 2 minutes to get one more. Ugh, that bitch. There we go. Now time to get the win if we can. And welcome to the jam. But yeah, they've won. Technically, the Bears have won in a basketball stadium for their first championship. The irony of the style I'm playing. I just want to get a goal, but or at this point a basket, but don't think I will. Just so I can be done with the Butters thing. That was close. Oh well. I wish I had some cheesy poofs. So now I need to get 2 wins with a goal. The question, I think they've already got somebody to cover the OC job, the guy from Boston College, but I, we got the goal. I think closing remarks would, I guess, just be like, I trust the core of Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen. As long as you got them, everybody else, maybe they can get other things done. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping. I want it to be sustained success. I'm too used to one-hit wonders. I'd like to have a good team for more than a few years, like... Man. I'd just like to see... It's like our biggest sustained success was like in the last 20 years was 2005 and 2006. Playoff run, Super Bowl run. Welcome, viewer. Just trying to get a win here. Oh boy. Ooh, sorry. Saying, they got the core there. They know what they're doing. I'd like them to get better at defense. That's basically it. Not much to it. So now for the rest, just enjoy. Well, I don't know how long it's going to take me, so with that being said, as my closing thing is, I'd like to just bring out back all the DBs that are pending free agents, spread out money with Darnell Wright with a contract extension, and possibly get some defensive help in free agency in the draft. Not much asking, basic, yearly requests. That being said, this is probably my last match. I don't think you can do double doings here. Get to it. And I too would like them to not be the cardiac bears. I'd like them to not have to win every game by the last second. Would you like them to do it and know how to do it? Yeah. No, that's no one's saying that's bad. It's just having to come back from behind all the time, though, is not something you want to do all the time. And you'd like to be able to win a couple games dominantly against like teams that are good, great, yeah. But I think that's a great learning block. I think it's good building blocks, but that's not something you want to do all the time. Eventually, you want to have opponents where if you think you're better than them, you beat them. And hopefully soundly. I don't think that happens, without a complete team. They need a complete defense to complement the offense. There's something I never thought I would say in my lifetime. Dang. Like me, I'm terrible at this defense shit right now. Well, with that being said, I'll see y'all later. Everybody bear down. See you. Bye.